Past perfect tense, potential mood. The past perfect tense is a verb form used to refer to a past action that occurred before another past action. Now see the how to make sentences. There are two sentences. First sentences, you have to add if subject add past participle object. In the second sentence, subject would have, should have, could have past participle object. Now see the passive voice. First sentence, if object had been past participle. The second sentence, object would have, should have, could have been past participle by. Now see the first example. Active voice. If she had started the project earlier, she could have finished the project. Passive voice. If the project had been started earlier, the project would have been finished by her. Active voice. If they had trained the game more, they would have won the game. Passive voice. If the game had been trained more, the game would have been won by them. Active voice. If he had found the tools, he would have fixed the car. Passive voice. If the tool had been found by him, the car would have been fixed by him. Active voice. If she had found the address, she could have sent a letter. Passive voice. If the address had been found, a letter could have been sent by her. Active voice. If she had studied the subject well, she could have written the report. Passive voice. If the subject had been studied well, the report could have been written by her. Active voice. If they had learned the design, they could have painted the mural. Passive voice. If the design had been learned, the mural could have been painted by them. Active voice. If they had offered a better salary, she would have taken the job. Passive voice. If a better salary had been offered by them, the job would have been taken by her. Active voice. If he had bought a spare part, he would have repaired the machine. Passive voice. If the spare parts had been bought, the machine would have been repaired by him. Active voice. If I had planned the best method, she could have saved the money. Passive voice. If the best method had been planned by me, the money could have been saved by her. Active voice. If she had known the occasion, she could have organized the party. Passive voice. If the occasion had been known, the party could have been organized by her. Active voice. If the artist had shaped the pencil, he would have drawn the sketch. Passive voice. If the pencil had been shaped by the artist, the sketch would have been drawn by him. Active voice. If she had received more inspiration, she should have designed the logo. Passive voice. If more inspiration had been received, The logo should have been designed by her. Active voice. If the distributor had detached the lock, he could have fixed new lock. Passive voice. If the lock had been detached by the distributor, new lock could have been fixed by him. Active voice. If they had organized the meeting, she should have informed to us. Passive voice. If the meeting had been organized by them, we should have been informed by her. Active voice. If the student had planned the studies, they would have succeeded the exam. Passive voice. If the study had been planned by the student, the exam would have been succeeded. Active voice. If he had explained the lesson, she could have completed the project. Passive voice. If the lesson had been explained by him, the project could have been completed by her. Active voice. If she had chosen the right tools, he would have fixed the computer. Passive voice. If the right tool had been chosen by her, the computer would have been fixed by him. Active voice. If I had received an invitation, she could have known your number. Passive voice. If an invitation had been reserved, your number could have been known by her. Active voice. If they had reorganized the meeting, she would have changed the time. Passive voice. If the meeting had been reorganized by them, the time would have been changed by her. Active voice. If teacher had given the information, she could have written the report. Passive voice. If the information had been given by teacher, the report could have been written by her. Active voice. If they had checked the board, they would have seen the announcement. Passive voice. If the board had been checked, the announcement would have been seen by them. Active voice. If the workers had cleaned the road, she could have driven the car. Passive voice. If the road had been cleaned by the workers, the car could have been driven by her. Active voice. If the policeman had investigated the case, they could have discovered the truth. Passive voice. If the case had been investigated by the policeman, the truth could have been discovered by them. Active voice. If we had made the reservation, we could have eaten the lunch. Passive voice. If a reservation had been made, the lunch could have been eaten by us. Active voice. If we had given the money, she could have bought a dress. Passive voice. If the money had been given by him, the dress could have been bought by her. Active voice. If we had started the class, they would have completed the tasks. Passive voice. If the class had been started by him, the tasks would have been completed by them. Active voice. If we had followed the instructions, we could have built a model. Passive voice. If the instruction had been followed by him, the model could have been built by him. Active voice. If she had practiced the lesson, she could have won the competition. Passive voice. If the lesson had been practiced by her, the competition could have been won by her. Active voice. If we had searched the room thoroughly, we could have found the keys. Passive voice. If the room had been searched thoroughly, the keys could have been found by us. Active voice. If they had known the weather forecast, they would have changed their plans. Passive voice. If the weather forecast had been known by them, their plans would have been changed by them. In next tutorial, I will bring you tenses in English grammar with meaningful lessons. Please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icons to get latest videos notification. And share my video among your friends. See you in future video.